Today's video is brought to you by Monte Cristo. Hey! Hey! Christmas. Sorry I'm so late getting back to you. This video is going to be about explaining the difference between OTR and the way ATS does their dry van dedicated target loads. It's very different, very different. It's not bad, it's just very different. It's kind of like, you know, some like brunettes, some like blondes. They both ain't bad, they're just very different. Anyway, so, you know, like over the road is, it's a good cigar, but when it goes out, it takes forever to get started again. So, OTR, you know, it's kind of the Wild West. It's probably the most difficult of the different. There's local, regional, dedicated, and then there's OTR, roughly. And OTR is, you know, you go out generally more than 2 weeks at a time. Usually about 4 weeks. I'm usually out about 4 weeks, and then I'm out usually 27 days. I come home 3 or 4, and then I go back out. So, and you never know where you're going to go. There's the, you know, it's kind of like, you know, there's a lot of unknowns. A lot of unknowns. You know, that's the thing I could probably say that's different about dedicated. There's very few unknowns. So it takes a lot of the mystery out of it, which isn't bad. It's not bad. You know, when you're over the road, company, if they don't have an account at the end of your destination, then they either, in order to backhaul you back into an area where they have an account, they'll have to broker you. And so this is primarily a flatbed company that does dry van also. And so I'll go to John Deere and they'll put small tractors, even lawnmowers and stuff in the back, and you haul it like a flatbed could have hauled it, I guess. I don't know. So that's kind of neat. You go to different destinations, different places. You have to trip plan it. The routes are typically a day and a half to 4 days. So, you know, you can kind of decide when you want to run, that kind of thing. You have a lot more flexibility, I think, is probably the word on that. But there's also more times than not where you'll, this is with ATS, in January 2021 is the time range I'm telling you about. They primarily have a lot of their lanes that are going up and down the East Coast over to the Minnesota, and they do have some routes down to Texas. We do have some runs that we go out to California, so it's OTR. But you'll tend to be pulled back, and I don't care what company you go to work for. I've learned freight comes out of the Northeast Coast and freight comes out of the Los Angeles area. Those are two big areas. If you're reefer, you're gonna definitely be doing a lot in LA, I think. But you know, the Northeast is heavily populated, lots of ports, and Planet Jersey's right there. And there's a lot of stuff that comes out of that Elizabethtown and Newport and all that, and it's just a big old planet of I don't want to be there. OTR is also going to, because it's across the United States, you have a bigger playground, and with the bigger playground comes more terrain and more weather. So I have been chosen to try out this dedicated, and I've done it for a couple weeks now, so I'm getting a better feel for it, and I kind of like it right now. One, I'm down in the southeast, which is where I'm comfortable at. I'm from Atlanta, so I'm in South Georgia right now, about 250 miles from Atlanta, and Target Distribution Center is my hub in Tipton, Georgia. So there's a couple truck stops right nearby, within a mile or 5, and so it's very convenient. I can always find a spot to park because I bobtail. That's a big difference. When you don't have to worry about parking, It's a whole different game. So that's a big plus for dedicated. When I go pick up a load, I generally will go 250 to 300 miles to my store, and if I have enough time on my clock to make it back, I'll come back. If I don't, sometimes I'll go down to Naples, and that's a little bit further than I can get back in the same day. So I just stay behind the store, no big deal. And then I come back. When I'm OTR, I don't typically have I do not typically have a pre-plan on me until I finally shut down, and then I'm pushing my dispatcher to say, hey, what's coming up? And they say they're working on it, and sometimes you got to go find the nearest truck stop to wait for them to find a load for you to backhaul or what have you. With this, you are typically planned. I'm planned out for 2 more days on this, so I do like that. I like the unknown is not easy to deal with when you're trying to plan for your next, when you got to shut down. Should I shut down now? I don't know when I'm going to have a pre-plan, and so having a pre-plan on you is good. Now, typically, if you have to sit for a day because they couldn't find you a load, you'll get like $75 for layover pay or wherever they find the money, and that's not much, but it's better than a poke in the eye. Here, because it's the way they compensate you is called project pay. Now, the normal OTR is 50 cents a mile. That's just 2021 rates. It's 50 cents a mile or 24% of load. They went up from 23% of load to 24% of load just recently. In 2020, it was 23% of the load or 50 cents per mile, whichever is better. Now it's 24. But now with project load, it's 27% of the load or 50 cents, whichever is better. Now, what's interesting is anytime I got a load in OTR, I knew exactly how much I was going to get paid because it shows me the 50 cents or the percentage of load. So the greater of the two I got. Here they don't tell you what you're going to get paid. And I personally think the way they do it is they wait to see how the week looks, and then they pour some money into the bucket and say this is how much you're going to make, because they tell you you're going to make between $1,300 and $1,600 a week. And I've been averaging around $1,300 a week at OTR, so it's not going to be any worse than when I was getting OTR. And so I thought, well, let me try it out. So far it's worked out. But what's interesting is sometimes you'll be on standby. You won't get a load, but you need to be ready to drive in case they need you to either repower a load or to go rescue a load or whatever. And it happened to me once where it was the standby was going to be over at midnight, and 20 minutes to midnight they called and said, we need you to go all the way down to Orlando, pull the trailer out, open the doors, and pull it back, because most of the time we're pulling all trailers, all Target trailers, but a few of them have swing doors, and most of the Target trailers are roll doors. So you typically just you just back it in and go do the old trailer dance, and that's probably the hardest part of or the most important and most difficult part of the most challenging part of it is getting into the store and then figuring out the best way to do your trailer dance. Now, trailer dance is basically a triple drop and hook, because you're going to pull. You have to work out of the same dock rule, that's why. So the trailer that you need to pull out of there has to be replaced with the trailer you're bringing. So that means you got to drop the trailer that you're bringing, go pull out the return trailer, put it somewhere, drop that, go hook back up to the trailer you're bringing, drop it in the hole that the return was in, and then go pick up the drop your trailer that you're bringing into the hole, and then pick up your return and go. So that takes some planning, and So I kind of like that challenge because I'm trying to see how efficient I can get. Right now, I'm still between 45 to 50 minutes in doing the trailer dance. And a lot of it has to do with, I'm still trying to get all the details worked out of the way I like to do it, try to become most efficient. I don't think I'll be able to get it down to 30 minutes. And I'm not in any hurry. That's very critical that you do all that right, because if you mess up and you hit something, that's going to mess everything up. So getting into the stores is probably, from a skill set, it's the most difficult. You really got to plan that, because you're going into a populated area that's mostly cars, four-wheelers, and sometimes you go during the times where their traffic is more prevalent. It's during the day or not very late in the night. You got to deal with that traffic, and a lot of these places are in very difficult places to get in and out of. So that's not a very that's the worst part of this job, is you're dealing more in traffic, and it's a little more difficult on a skill set to maneuver around different things. So take it as a challenge, I guess. I used to be an OTR. I used to see the sunrise most of the time, because I like to drive at 2 a.m. to 2 p.m. I've noticed that this is night driving for the most part. You start out in the afternoon and drive into the evening, so you see the sunset, and then depending on where you end up, it's usually real early in the morning before the sunrise, and then you shut down. So be prepared to be doing some night driving. The one other thing is, a lot of the videos online were for reefer dedicated, and that's very different because all those are live unloads. And a buddy of mine, Highway Junkie, he's doing dedicated with Werner, and he is his dry van is different than mine. He goes over a larger scale. He'll go possibly from DC to DC. He'll go from multiple stops, 2 or 3 stops at Best Buy. So his situation is even more different than mine. Mine's very simple, and I think we're just trying to get this account up and going. But it's basically, the miles are further apart. When I trialed this out up in Minnesota, back when my bunk heater didn't work, and it got down to about 22 degrees, so that's not terrible, but it wasn't very comfortable. I had a crack in my line that fed fuel to the generator, to the tri-pack thing. I can't think of the name, but I'll probably just type the words in if it comes to me. Anyway, so there I went anywhere from 12 miles to maybe 150 or 200. So their particular runs were very sporadic. These, they're further. You're gonna go a good 3 to 4 hours, sometimes 5 hours, and then you'll be at your destination. And I like that. I like to be able to drive. I didn't like the feeling of getting on and off the interstate so quick you didn't even feel like you saw any semi-trucks. So this down here in southeast Georgia is working for me very well. The pay's good. Oh, by the way, the standby pay, if you don't get used, was $200. So that was, I got paid $256 because I actually had to run 516 miles, I think it was, so that came out to $256, I think. Which I didn't mind doing. Ran down there, ran back, and did all that in about 9 hours. It's okay. I'm used to working like that. But sometimes you'll just go, you may only go, 5 or 6 hours, 6 hours for the day, and then you're done for the day until the next day. So there's a lot more downtime. And if I'm going to be making the same or more, and I'm doing only about 8,000 miles a month, this is easy. So the most important thing is you got to be careful, and you got to be on time. Now, if there's a live appointment, a live unload, or if they actually have an appointment for you to be there, you can't be there early and you can't be there late. So I was like, well, how does that work? Because Because how do you time it to be on there at the exact right time? Well, the way you do it is it's a window. You get a 1 hour window. And the 1 hour window, see, I let it go out. I'll get it later. The 1 hour window is, like, say I got to be there at 11 o'clock at night. So I got to be there not before 11, but I can't be there after 12. So they give me an hour. So I usually try to trip plan it to be there at 11:15. 15 minutes into that window, and that works. And what determines when you're there is when you go into the Qualcomm and then you actually establish that you've arrived. So even though the GPS will say you've arrived, it doesn't matter. You just wait until that window opens up, and then you program that you've arrived. And that's how that works. So I've got a little video to show you a little bit about it, but that kind of gives it to you in a nutshell. I've been getting over a cold. It ain't COVID. I've been getting over a cold, and it's taken me about 4 or 5 days. It's just lingering on. It's not bad. I'm sure smoking cigars doesn't help. But coming off of Christmas break, which was nice, then getting into this routine has been good. I mean, the weather's been cool, but not cold like up in Minnesota. A buddy of mine with ATS is driving out to a load. He's got like 13 stops for Walmart. They got some display items that they do. I've done one of those before. It's pretty cool, pretty easy. I do envy that he's going to be seeing a lot more scenery than I'll be seeing, but at the end of the day, everything's a trade-off. I like being closer to home because I've already had the benefit. I just got done today. I have a buddy of mine from Atlanta, known for years. He was on his way to Jacksonville. He stopped by. We had a cup of coffee and got to catch up with him and go. When I went up to Atlanta, I got to hook up with him to have a cigar and go to, we went to a pub and had some dinner. And I've never been able to do that because I have met with some of my friends. An old Navy buddy, Ice, I call him. His name's Ice. His name's Paul Berg, but Iceberg, so I call him Ice. And in fact, she gave me this awesome life-saving jacket. Nobody's gonna hit me when I wear this, unless they're trying to. So I am able to meet up with some friends every once in a while, but it's more difficult because you don't have the ability to just park anywhere you want. So here, I was able to go up to Atlanta, and then I saw my wife and her friend one day. They came out and saw me do the trailer dance, and got to say hi for a little bit, and then so I'm able to be a little bit closer to family with when I go home for home time. It's not going to be hard to trip plan me home because I just bobtail home. And that's the other thing about bobtailing. So I'm bobtailed right now. So when I drop the load off, I come back here bobtail. And that's very convenient because you can park about anywhere. But this parking lot was so full, I could just go down the street into Tifton and just park and say, hey, you know what? Here we go. I'm gonna hold on. There we go. So we're gonna go into Tifton, and I'm just gonna find a place to park. I could find a Walmart. There's a couple of them in Tifton, and I could easily park a bobtail there, so I don't have to worry about finding a place to park, and that's a big deal. Plus, I could PC on a day, like if I shut down at 2 or 3 in the morning from coming back from a load, and I don't have to pick up again until the next day in the afternoon, I can get my 10-hour break in, and then when I get up, I could PC into town to a Walmart or whatever, go into a Longhorn, and just bobtail in on PC and don't start your clock, and then take care of some personal business and bobtail back and shut down at the truck stop across the street from the DC, and then you go. So the convenience is very good. I don't like a lot of the downtime. Personally, I like to go, but it's pretty easy to get comfortable with it, I will say that. So all in all, it's pretty good. If you have any questions, shoot me an email at KangarooTrucker@gmail.com. I need to do an update on ATS, my annual review with them. But overall, I've been happy with them. You know, it's a good dry van company. It's a good flatbed company. If you're flatbed, it's definitely a good company for flatbed, but for dry van, it's been really good. I enjoyed it. The dispatchers, all the ones that I've worked with, I got one assigned, but you know, you always will work with others, especially if it's night dispatch and stuff. For the most part, they've all been very helpful and accommodating. They respect the driver, and they communicate fairly well with the drivers. The company overall, I think, is a good company, and they try to do the right things. You know, there's lots of things that come up in trucking that you can't control, so you just got to deal with it. And that's really what, in my opinion, tells you the kind of company that you're working for is how do they handle the problems that you have with the load or with the company. And they've all been very good in handling those problems. So you take care. We'll talk to you soon, and I'll keep you posted. I got it relit. I almost forgot one of the most important things. Now, I call it in the video I'm going to show you a fifth wheel lock, but it's not. It's a kingpin lock. So my bad on the terminology. But you got to get underneath the trailer, and you got to take off this heavy ass kingpin lock, and you got to switch those out. That's one of the other things that's a little different, but it's really not a big deal. You squat down, and as long as you can squat down and put the lock on without getting grease on you, it's a good day. Put it up here. Trying to get grease on you. Here we go. So key all that grease, I'm gonna try to keep off my back. All right, let's go pick up our trailer and get out of here. Well, we're gonna try something new. We're pulling a Target trailer today. It's an old trailer. I just talked to the other driver. He said they're all old. This one here is not only a manual pull, it's a no pull. There's not even a way to change. There's no bar to even move the tandems. And I got to go into the stores. It's not exactly ideal turning radius when you got your tandems that far back. And an old rusty ass trailer. So we'll see how it goes. He's getting ready to pull out. I told him I'll let him pull out, but there's no room to pick up with him there. Park these tight. So this is the Target dedicated. We'll see how it goes. I gotta take the trailer, not the FedEx one, not the blank one, but the one next to it. I gotta take that one. So I just took the fifth wheel lock off. I'll have to show you that in a minute. So first I gotta drop this right here. Then I gotta go pull that one out and drop it there. Then I gotta go back here, pick this one up, load it back up, back it into there, drop it, put the fifth wheel lock on that one, and then pick that one up and go. So it's not hard. It's just luckily the weather's good. It's not too cold, and I can work.
was 29.95 inches and falling. And between Port Harbor, it was cloudy. The temperature was 23 degrees and the relative humidity 74%.